Morning, Sally. Although it's evening for us over here. Hi, Lane. How are you doing? Evening, Nikki. Right, I'll give it another minute or two and then we'll get going. I'm sure you remember from last week we put the rest of the pages together, and I did say that the homework was to base decorate all your pages. As you can see, yeah, I didn't get round to it this week. We've had a few issues at home and with family, so I've not actually got round to the decorating. But as you can see, the pages, or some of them are decorated, but then some of them I didn't get around to. So that's your 4 pages to go in your book. Now, if you remember back to week 1, we did the hinges, whoops, and also cut the covers to size. Now, depending on if, oops, everything's just slid down, how you work, whether you use Tyvek or bookbinding tape, I forgot what it's called then. Why is my screen not moving? Ah, for some reason my screen has frozen. Let me just... Ooh, we have a technical problem. Can anyone tell? Has my screen changed to the hinges and the chipboard covers for you? Because on mine it's frozen, but I don't know if you can still see what's happening. You're frozen. Let me come out and see if I go back into it again. Ooh. Ah, it's caught up. Absolutely no idea what happened then. So hopefully everything's working again now. So when you're putting your book together, just move this down, you need your spine piece in the middle of the 3. Now, I have my hinge spacers on a book ring that I just keep on my desk on a hook, because if I don't, I tend to lose them. So if you're using Tyvek, what you need to do is, I'll just use some black card because I haven't actually got any Tyvek at the minute, is to put your Tyvek down, glue your spine piece fairly centrally to the Tyvek, and then I put my spacers and then glue the back cover to that. Once that's glued in place, I move those to the opposite side and glue that one in place. Now, for those of you, and I know a lot of you that have got the bookbinding tape, what I tend to do is put the hinges in place, take my tape, cut it to size. Hi Nikki, yeah, I thought I'd lost you all. This obviously takes some time to get the backing off because for some reason it's not working very well. So I make sure that they're in place. Stick it in the middle. And then, oh, didn't get that very straight. Put that up there. And just because it's not very central, turn it over. and then again on the other side. Let's take another piece of tape. Peel it off. Put that fairly central, and once it's stuck there, take the spacers out just so it doesn't move while I'm doing that. Okay. Hi Helen. Oops. Run out of tape. So I tend to start at one corner, get the backing off again, pop it on, so it's roughly, the tape's halfway. Fold that over. Try and keep an even amount on both sides, which, yes, it's easier kind of said than done, and I do tend to make a little bit of a mistake now and again. And fold your tape over, and when I get to here, I just snip, you can see that there, and fold that over. Move it round, peel the tape back, and then stick it on that side, flip it over, and then here, not too much of that in the way, put the tape to there, and on this side I'll just snip that, so that again it folds over nicely. Oh, run out. So for this, what I'll do is I will just push that over there. I'll have to fold that over. And I'll get my fresh roll of tape. Hi Tallulah. The black tape comes with lots of cellophane on it. An awful lot of sellotape. Depending where you buy it from, it's either called bookbinding tape or matte decoration tape, or I think different companies have different names for it, so it's very difficult to give you one name for everything. But this is the one that I use. Cal used to sell it. I think there are a couple of other places that do different types. The struggle we've got at the moment is that this one has the backing tape on, and a lot of the others unfortunately don't, so they're not quite, so they're just double-sided sticky all the way through. Not quite sure if I can get any more of this, but I will look into it. So I've just measured that roughly, quite a bit extra. to make sure I've got enough to go round. Stick that down, otherwise it'll unravel everywhere. You don't actually need it. You can use the Tyvek to strengthen the hinges. It's just with this, as well as strengthening the hinges, it just means it covers the edge of your grey board, which I think just makes a bit of a neater edge. But like a lot of things in crafting, it's down to personal choice. So just straighten it out because it does get a little bit curled up. So if I pop that on there. And again, snip up to the corner. And just make sure that's all straight. And just peel that off, then it don't get everywhere. Measure it at a 90-degree angle. Snip that. And then fold that over. Try and make a bit of a neater edge than there. Oops. And then here, just to keep the corner covered, just flip that over. Just so there's no grey board showing and it's a neater edge. Now I'm just going to stick 2 more pieces of tape down there just to strengthen that hinge. Okay. So, hi Diana, I've just seen you've joined as well. So now I know that those hinges can be, if you just rub your fingers up and make just a little dint in it, makes it fold nice and easy. If you find it is puckering a little bit, if you get a ball tool and just run up the middle with your ball tool, it will just strengthen it that bit more, so you get a nice clean hinge. So if that's your cover, your front and back, now we have the hinge. Now you'll see that the paper for the hinges is just slightly, let me get a piece of card, shorter than the book. That's just because I tend to cut it a little bit shorter so it's not putting the top and bottom. Now when I scored the card, you'll see I put the white pencil marks in it. So those pencil marks, those 2 first score lines, actually line up with where the hinges go, and you'll see that. I don't know if you can see it very well here, where the dints are for the hinges. So although I do use glue on my hinges, I also use tape in the tape will hold it whilst the glue is setting. So I'll just put some tape across there. Some tape across there. And so that'll just hold it in place whilst the glue's setting. Oh, Diana, you have Pro black construction tape. What makes it Pro rather than normal construction tape? Yeah, I might be able to look into that. So if you take your backing paper off, and then although you do need quite a bit of glue, it's important not to put way too much on that it gets covered over and that it just oozes out everywhere, because that's not a good look. So once you've got your glue on, just remember that your tape will hold it until the glue sets. If you line your white score lines up with where your hinges are, and then just burnish the glue and the tape down. And you can get your bone folder and just make sure and burnish in between. Hi Mary, hi Wendy. Claire's black construction tape, Nikki. Sounds really silly, but who's Claire, or is it a brand? Is Claire a brand name tape for the construction tape, or is it just somebody that uses it? I'm a bit confused, but doesn't take much. Ah, right. Ooh, I might have to look for Claire and see who she is or where she is. Did not want to say company name. Okay, fair enough. I will have a Google later. So now we've got the front and back covers and your hinges in place, it's time to put your pockets on the front and back. So I'll just move that out of the way. Thanks, Nikki. So on the inside front cover here, we're having a long pocket that goes up this side of the page. So get the trimmer. Thanks, Wendy. yeah, spelling's not my best point. So for the inside front cover, just let me see, I might have some offcuts, or maybe not. Yeah, so I've got an offcut that is not long enough. It needs to be 9.5. So if I trim this down to 9.5 by 3.5 inches, that away, and then I need to score at 1/2 inch on the 9.5 inch side. So score at 1/2 inch and 9 inches, and then spin it round, and on the short side score at 1/2 inch. So once you've cut your corners off, which sometimes it actually shows up really well on screen where the score lines are at the minute, but it's not always that great to see when you're actually cutting it. So fold your lines in, and that, if you measured right, will just fit on the inside pocket there. Okay. In fact, mine's too, why is mine, I think I cut mine too long. That's me, cat. Oh, so if it's 8 1/4 plus 1/2 inch, plus an inch is only 9 1/4. That's me not being able to add up. So refold that and just trim the corners off. Okay, so if you get your glue out again, which I have remembered to put the lid on, okay, so pop your pocket, and look, if you cut it the right size, it actually fits really, really well. So if you burnish that, yeah, black construction tape is much easier, Nikki. Okay, so move on to the back cover. So for the pocket here, it actually goes across the bottom there. So this one we want to cut at 7 inches by 4.5. So you will have an offcut that is 4.5 inches, or just over 4.5 inches wide. And that needs to be cut down to 7 inches long. Okay. And then again on this pocket, on the long side we're scoring at 1/2 inch and at 6.5 inches. Spin it round to the shorter side, the 4.5 inch side, and score at 1/2 inch. And then chop the end corners off. I just give them a quick fold by hand and then actually burnish the so that then just sits. I've brought it in slightly from the hinge just so that it doesn't catch on anything. Oops. And then glue your gussets. And again, burnish. Okay, so that's the outside of your book, your front page, back page, spine, your hinges and your 2 pockets in there. So I'll just squidge that in with the hinge. So your book actually, and it is quite a chunky book because when I did the first one it didn't feel big enough. So now one thing I did wanted to go through with you, in the pockets at the edge of the pages, you've got these pull outs. So you've got, as well as all your other photo mats through the book, you've got the pull outs, and that's each page. Now I don't know how many of you have, what you can do to do your photo mats is just cut it at 7.5 by 5.5 and it will just slide into the pocket at the side of the page. But for those of you that have a We Are Makers envelope board, do any of you have one of these? No? So you do your normal. So what I do is I cut my page wider than I need it. So if I've got my piece of my photo mat and I want it to be 5.5 inches wide, I cut it to 6 inches and then pop your card, and if you put it in the middle, you'll be able to see it on the board. Yeah, you can see it there. If I try and come round this way and punch that, and then if I move the edge of the paper or the edge of the card up to the 2-inch line, and then punch again, which is very difficult to try and do from the back so I'm not blocking everything off. When you pull it out, you then get this shape. And then what you can do is, if you get your trimmer, Tallulah, do you need it? Well, maybe. And if you put that so it's just in the little groove for your trimmer, and then cut up to that line. Now my blade needs replacing. It means you'll get a page that has a little bit stuck out, so you can pull your pages, your photo mats, out of the page a little bit easier. Don't know if anybody will find that useful or not, but I just find that otherwise I tend to lose my photo mats inside the pages. So what I did then was some of the pieces that I had left over when I'd finished decorating. So this one I've literally glued at the bottom, just on the corner, so you can tuck photos behind it. This one, although it's glued on, it's not glued completely on, so you can pop a photograph just underneath it. This one, again, I've done it so you can pop your photograph behind it, and the same with this one. So just something slightly different that if you want to do that. So I really should get on with decorating. Nikki, I use and make file tabs. How do you make oblongs and circles with it? That's interesting. I've made crackers with them. So again, just cut the corner off your pages before you stick them in. Off your hinges even, not your pages. And then no idea why, but I always start at the back. Glue down the hinge. Pop it on there, make sure the page is lined up equally top and bottom, and then just burnish that down. And then work on the next hinge. Oops. Again, just line your pages up top and bottom and burnish them down. Right, sorry Nikki, I thought you meant you could make oblongs and circles with them. Sorry, I'm having a bad day. And oops, put your hinge on. Oh, line it up. air bubble in the glue, which is never a good move. Make sure it lines up and burnish it down. Okay. Now, obviously with stamp area paper you get an awful lot of pages like this, and that's the one. Now I sat the other night and cut quite a few of these out watching TV, which you can do. Now the other one of these, sorry, that's the one on the back of there. There is one with all the tags on. Now because I've used 2 stamp area pads, I have used the blue music paper from one of the pads, but then from this one I'll cut out the tags, so you can pop these tags in wherever you want. Also in this pack there it is, you get this beautiful page. Piano, oh yes they would, and you actually get 2, if you, depending what you cut out on the back, you've got some there and some at that side. So these, I've cut these out of the other pad. I've still got loads of paper left because I've not actually finished decorating it yet. But with these, I've cut out and so you get your 3 long tags. Stand that up. Which you can either use like that, you can use a crocodile or a big bite hole punch and punch holes in the top of there and use them as like bookmarky things. You can put ribbon through the top. Then you've got these little ones. Now they actually have, you can't see very well on there, they have a line down there, see better on that side, that you can fold down and it makes a little booklet. So you've got that booklet with the cherubs on the front. This booklet also has the cherubs on the front but doesn't have the flowers up the side. And you can either put photos in there or you write your journaling on there. And then there's one with the violin. Again, you can use it for photos or journaling. Then there's also 2 small upside down tags that you can use for whatever you want, even if it's just to tuck something in. Now with these, put them the right way round. So you've got the cherubs on that one, the violin on that one, the piano keys on that one, and the piano on that one, and then the flowers and heart on that. Now if you turn them over, they are more plain on the other side. So what I did with the other album, these are actually straight lines, so it's much easier. But with the Dewdrops one, I cut 2 out. I stuck, so for that one, I would stick the front on one side, trim the black card off, and then turn it over, and the back side of the other page put on the back of the black card, so you've got the black card all the way round, but it means that you've got your pretty pattern on the front, but you've got your less decorated area if you want to put photos or writing on the back. And it does make them that little bit sturdier. If they're being slid in and out of pockets like that, it just makes it a bit sturdier than using a single sheet of paper. Does that make sense to people? And then also on that sheet was this shape. So when you cut it out, it's actually an envelope. So once you've cut it, if you score along there, that can be folded up. Do it that way. So you fold the wings in, if you like, and fold up, and then that's just a top. So you can either use it, stick it down fully into the book and put a tag in it like that, or you can leave it like that, put maybe a smaller tag in, and just put the whole envelope into the pocket on the side, or any of the pockets really. Okay, so I'm going to carry on and decorate. I actually put the piece that I wanted on the front to the side a few weeks ago. Still undecided, because I quite like the piano bit down that side with the music, but I also like, the piano on that side, or the piano keys. Not sure which one to use. Anybody have any preferences? Ooh, there's nobody there watching anymore, or it's frozen again. Piano. So it measures 6.5. So I'm going to cut the page at 6 1/4 by, that's 8 1/4, so I'll cut it at 8. So 6 1/4. And then that one, that's 8. Okay. So that will just leave a little bit of black all the way round. I will ink the edges. Then put the glue on. And just line it up. Okay, so got a lot of decorating to do. I'm going to go through and put some of the larger pieces of paper on to start with, just because then the bits that are left I can use smaller pieces. So that's 6 inches. I bet that's a bit too small. So yeah, the offcut will just fit on there. Now, do I use... that bit? So that's just under 7.5. So if I cut it at 7.25, and again ink the edges. And then just pop that down again. Whoops. Making sure it's straight and you've not got too much oozing glue everywhere. So that's that. So now I need, come back to that in a minute. Done those. So I tend to go through and like that piece there will just fit on that pocket piece. So that piece will just fit on there. So I'll probably use that for there. So again, I tend to, rather than measure it, because they're always different measurements, take that across. So that one needs to be trimmed there, and just there. Okay. Bring my smaller trimmer in. Inking the edges up again. Don't know about anybody else, but I tend to find that the decorating can take as long as the actual making of the book, not the actual decorating, the deciding on which bit of paper goes where. I can spend an awful lot longer on deciding which piece of paper to use, because that was a, might go there. How do you decide which piece of paper you want where? Do you just try them all and see, or do you just cut it up and go? Any thoughts on which pieces of paper to use? See, there's the text one, which is lovely, but I might just leave that and cut that into actual tag shapes, and just pop a hole through, and maybe some ribbon, not sure yet. And I like this collar. If you were doing a scrapbook, this page would be lovely, because you could just put a single photograph in the middle and then put some of your tags or these around it. But yeah, I don't like it for this, so I will probably use this page for the back of there. This is the bit that can take absolute, in fact, what I might do, I quite like the idea of putting that page on there and having it run from the pocket onto the page. So that's 8 1/4 high. If I cut it just under the 8 1/4, so the pocket is 3 inches. So if I go just under the 3, so that'll go on there like that. And that's 3 1/2. So if I go just a little bit past there, but that means I'm chopping the cherub's head off. I'm going to change my mind. So I'm going to do the 3 1/2, just past the 3 1/2 from the other side of the paper, because I can. So that one's going to slide just in there. I'm going to get my rubber and rub out my pencil marks. Again, ink the edges. Pop that on there. And too much glue on there because it's all over my hand. more glue on there, and then that should just line up. And now I don't mind if I cover that circly thing and the music up, it's not too bad. So then it's just working through again. That's a bit too short for there, but I will find somewhere for it. So if you pull these out, that could go on either one of those, depending on where you want your photos. I might just trim that down and put it on. So if I go to the bottom there, yeah, I can do that without chopping the cherub's head off. So that's just before the fold there. And just, yeah, there. So find your pencil marks, which can sometimes take me a while. Quick catch up. Hi Jen. Nikki design. Yeah, I have to do my front cover, but I picked that page out but didn't know which bit of it I was using. The back cover I'm not always as fussy about because it doesn't always get seen, unless there is a paper that really stands out. I'm a bit but yeah, and I tend to go through doing the larger pieces of matting and layering like these first, and then from the offcuts of that you can do the smaller pieces. But then I do go backwards and forwards, and sometimes it works, and then sometimes you get further on and think, I wish I'd use that for somewhere else. But at the end of the day, it's just, it's down to your own preference. And if you're anything like me, my preference can change on, if not daily or weekly basis, that I can sit out, because originally there was no way I was having that page on the front. I wanted a different one, but then as I looked at it, I went off it. So yeah, it's very I think it's quite subjective to what you want, and sometimes if you're making a book with a recipient in mind, that makes it easier as well. Just line the glue up, the page up even, not the glue. Make sure it's straight before you push it all down. And that's another bit done. It's like with the waterfall, I don't always cover the full page. So if, for instance, I was using that, I would just put maybe ½ an inch on each one so that it goes up. Didn't explain that very well. What I mean is, on here you'll see that I've just put the 1/2 inch strip there, and on the one underneath and the one underneath, but when you put them together it just continues on. And that's what I've done. You can see it, probably see it better on this one where it just continues on. This has been stuck on, but I've stuck it on with repositionable dots because I want to tuck the photo behind there. So I'll put the photo on and then just put that back on over the top. And I think, yeah, I've done the same with that one as well. But if I don't put them on when I decide and use repositionable glue dots, I can lose these or forget where they are. And again, you've got all these chippies, they call them. There you go. I always decorate back and front cover last. I used to, and I can't remember what book it was. I accidentally used the paper that I wanted for the front cover during the book, and I really didn't like the pieces, so I ended up going buying a whole new pack of paper so I could use the other one on the front of the book. So I tend to put the front cover on because when you're working on it, it is fairly flat, so in theory it shouldn't be damaged that much. But yeah, I do always worry. And little pieces of paper like this, keep hold of them till you finish the book because they can be used for little bits of things. So like if you're putting on here, lost it, you could just put that at the bottom of the page. Just trying to read the words. Shall hence be holiday, come away and live. No idea what song it is. Might have to look that up. So you can just, if you do get tight on paper, use it as or. Oh, it's not long enough. But if you've got a small pocket that you could put just at the top of a pocket. So there is, as you say, there's lots of decorating to do. Do people want me to carry on tonight and do some more decorating? Jen, is that of course to the decorating, or because as well as that you've got your chippies, which has a musical note. You have a circular piece of music, and it's not a violin, it's the bigger one. I think it's a cello. I'm not very good with musical instruments. And there are the rub-ons to use, and the ephemera bits. Now I don't know if that shows up very well, but the ephemera bits have got like a gold, no it doesn't, let's have a look. They have like a gold sheen on them, if that's the right wording. Jen, you should be working. I won't tell if you don't. So like this music book, does it show? There's like a gold sheen on it rather than it just being a flat piece of paper, which I'm not actually sure which way up that goes. And again, they have this really lovely shimmery shine to it. And these are also, I just double check, adhesive. So with these, we've got some hearts as well. If you get a pair of scissors, or your nails if you've got any, which I'm struggling with at the minute, there you go. So these are actually self-adhesive on the back. Maybe easier if you use your poker tool or a craft knife. So these just peel off, but if you wanted to layer them up, you may be better, which for these it means all this little bit here is going to have adhesive behind it, so you don't have to worry about getting glue everywhere. So there are some really, really lovely bits of ephemera and more piano keys and lots of musical notes, which I'm not that great at knowing what's what, or even musical instruments. Anybody I think that's a cello, but anybody any idea what this is? Oops. Nobody got any idea what? I might have to Google photo it and reverse image it. I've no idea what that is. I've never seen one. But we'll carry on and do a few more pages of decorating. So, where am I up to? Okay, so I need something. What you could do is a lute. Ukulele, maybe. Is it ukulele? I don't know. What? Oh. I thought a mandolin was what you had in your kitchen to slice veg with, or cut your fingers off. Cut the end of your finger off. Ooh. I'm not sure now. One of those string. Yep, Jen, I'm with you on that one. It most definitely is one of those. So let's have a look. That was the bottom half of there. So I may put the top on there. Wondering what you're going to do with the wood. Ah, the decorative chips. It's not wood. It's, I don't actually know what it is. Night Lane. And I do have a bin over here, even though I keep throwing everything there. It's a bit spongy. yeah, it's definitely not wood. Don't know. See, I did wonder if I coloured the cello in, whether to stand the cello in front of the piano. And perhaps put the musical notes over the top. Funny foam. Could be, but it's more like lots of bits of paper stuck together. I don't know if there's a technical term for that, Tallulah. So that's, but it's really, really easy to colour up because you just get your ink and squidge over the top of it. Whoops. And it colours. You can go from really pale to really dark, depending on how, preferably not on your finger. So with the same ink colour, you can, depending on how heavy or dark you want it, you can do the way it does colour really, really easily, but it's a bit like plywood made from card or paper. Not sure. It says chippies, but it's not. Oh, decorative chips, but it's not chipboard. Doesn't say what it's made of. But you're not allowed to play with it if you're under 36 months old. I guess that's so you don't eat it. So let's move that out of the way. So I need a smidge off that side and chop that there. Glue on the back of the page. And wiggle it into place. And then just pop that down. So that could be used for one of them. Leave that in there. That's not big enough. Again, that could be used for in there. And I tend to do this if I'm putting things in pot. Ah, balsa wood, it could be, yes. Now on the back of the front page, you've got lots of bits that you can cut out with words on. So I'm going to hang on to that for now because I might have, you could use it just to back something, but I might hang on to it in case I want to cut the words out and use them later. And we're back to choosing paper. Quite like that one. So for this, I don't really want to use the cello on there because it's going to be covered up by the pockets. So I might use that on there and it will pull out. So that's 8. So if I cut it at just under the 8 inches, in fact no, I'm going to cut it at the top of the cello and then take some off the bottom so it's just under the 8 inches. So I've got most of the cello on the page. So if I leave that gap there, and that will, so just so I don't lose it, that's my repositionable tape. And then trim this off, except I've lost the pencil mark. Do that again. And then that's not quite big enough, but if I do that and then put one of these sets of piano keys just pin these down. There. So if I do that, I can then put the piano keys just over there and ink that edge up, and that'll finish that page off. So you can get another page and do the same there. I've still got a lot more to decorate. So if we leave it there for this week, hopefully I will have finished decorating by next week. And then what we can do, if I've just base decorated, I can go through how I did the pull outs and show you how I decorated the 6x4 little cards to make it easier. So you can use both cards, or you can see both sides of the card but still have the pocket things, the little things in the pockets. Okay. Oh, thanks very much to you all for joining, and hope to see you all again next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.